Is this what I think it is? Cadence asked, starting to shake a little. Oh, yep, it's mistletoe. Apple Bloom cheered, even as the blood began to rush over her head, from hanging it over the edge of the roof. Sweet and Scootaloo overheard you two arguing, and we decided to try to help make you live. Yeah, and my mom and dad always kiss the bear after he kiss. Mine too, Beth said, added. Mistletoe! Cadence shouted, before screaming at the top of her lungs. She barreled out of the gazebo, trailing to find a few pieces of mistletoe behind her before she leapt into the snow. She then began to roll around frantically, covering herself in the white fluff as if her life depended on it. Shining Armor was soon at her side as well, using his magic to quickly toss away any bits of mistletoe that Cadence had carried away with her from the gazebo. Am I missing something? Scootaloo asked as she and Babs came out of the trees. Are they supposed to be kissing and making up? Yeah, what the hell are you doing? Babs asked. We're trying to wash out the oils from the mistletoe, Shining said, as he dumped a levitation spell full of snow on Cadence. Why are you doing that? Amber Bloom asked. Because Cadence is allergic to mistletoe! Say what? All four fillies shouted in unison. This live reader also shouted. You're the freaking alicorn of love. How are you allergic to that? Where did you even find that mistletoe? Nick stared down at her host as she, Twilight, Nightlight, and Velvet waited outside the medical wards, sitting on a cushion provided to them by one of the castle staff. Despite Shining and Cadence's best efforts to wash off mistletoe oils with snow, Cadence began to feel ill. Shining Armor didn't waste a moment after that. He picked Cadence up in his magic and sprinted back to the castle. He barreled through the party, ignoring the surprised shouts being raised by his actions, and carried Cadence all the way to the castle's doctors. It was in a box near the closet near the ballroom, Nix answered. It hadn't taken long for every pony in the party to hear what had happened, and even less time for Nix and her friends to be pulled off to the side by each of their families. They all faced similar questions about how they had done what they did. They also all faced a simple truth. They were all in trouble. We were just trying to help them make up, Nick said for what had to be the 20th time. And we were going to hang the mistletoe, but Scootaloo said the string we found all got tangled up for some reason. We wouldn't have done it if she knew we were allergic. We're sorry. I know, Twilight said, putting a hoof around Nix's shoulder and hugging. She sounded a little tired, as he usually seemed to be after one of the Cutie Mark Crusader escapades. Twilight, however, was sincere all the same. You were just helping your aunt and uncle. But maybe next time ask some pony before you pull surprises like this, okay? Nix nodded her head and focused on the door to the medical ward. Okay. Twilight, is Cadence going to be okay? Don't worry. She's just going to be itchy and a little puffy for a day or two. Puffy? Cadence groaned, cracking open her eyes as he laid back into bed. She felt sore all over, which was arguably better than she had been feeling a few minutes before. The doctor had given her something to stop the itching, a little pill that caused her own magic to work as a soothing agent for her body. It meant she really couldn't cast spells as well as normal, but it brought sweet relief from the itching she would otherwise be suffering from. Hey, how are you feeling? Cadence turned her head slowly, her body feeling heavy and stiff. Besides the itching, mistletoe tended to make her swell up a bit. Not so much she was in danger, unless he purposely ate the stuff. It was, however, enough to make it look like she got into a fight with some pony. That, or she binged down on holiday treats and gained 10 pounds on most parts of her body. Standing above her, smiling, was Shining. I feel puffy, Cadence pouted. Well, you are a little puffy, he said with a small chuckle. But the doctor said you'll be fine by tomorrow night. Shining turned his head and levitated a glass of water close to Cadence. A straw hung right in front of her lips, and Cadence gladly took a drink. She drained half the glass before finishing it, and allowing Shining Armor to set it back down on a nearby table. Can I get you anything else? The party's still going on, if you like something for the buffet. I'll even taste down one of those legged brownies for you, if you want. I'm not really that hungry, Kane said quietly, as he let her eyes drift back to the ceiling. No, I can't imagine you are right now, Sighing said, as he levitated a cushion closer to the bed and took a seat on it. Still, is there anything you want? Another pillow? Did the doctor say anything else? Shining Armor shook his head. No. All he really says that you'll be better soon, and that you have nothing to worry about. Your allergic reaction is only cosmetic, and it'll clear up just fine. Cadence breathed a sigh of relief as he rested her forehead on top of the blanket, specifically on top of her stomach. That's good. I was worried. I never had this bad a reaction before. Well, you never had that much mistletoe dumped on your head. Makes me remember that happened the first time, when we didn't know you were allergic. Twilight was trying to decorate, and she dropped a piece of mistletoe on your back. You spent the next hour after that trying to scratch yourself on everything in the house. Cadence chuckled before wincing a little. Smiling made her face hurt more, but she still felt like smiling. Yeah, I remember. Twilight looked up a bunch of techniques bears use to scratch their backs. Still, thanks for carrying me in, Shining. What else was I supposed to do? He asked, smiling winking before glancing away. The room gave way to awkward silence. Neither really had anything to say. Cadence had been angry, but it was hard to stay angry when your whole body aches. And Shining had apologized before, a dozen times. She hadn't been keen to listen to him those dozen times, but she knew he was sorry. Cadence? Shining? The pair both tried to speak at the same time, to try and break the silence. But they both felt quiet again in fear they were interrupting. Then a small chuckle, first from Shining, then from Cadence. I'm sorry. Again, the pair got caught speaking in unison, and they chuckled once more. Cadence moved one of her forehoofs, holding Shining's hoof as he looked at him. Do you promise never to be that boneheaded again? To listen to me when I say to trust some pony? He nodded, squeezing her hoof back. I promise. Okay. She said, once more cringing from the pain of smiling. 'Cause I want a hot fun sundae. Shining laughed, before leaning forward and gently kissing Cadence on the forehead. Of course. Anything you want? Really? Anything? Cadence teased. Will you bring me in breakfast in bed for a week? With all I have to make up for, I'll bring you breakfast in bed for a month, he said gladly. With reps? For as long as you want. Well, I guess that's a start, Cadence said. Besides, I think you'll have more than enough to do for the next few months. I'm going to need a lot of help. We'll have classes to take and books to read. It's going to be a lot of work getting ready. Getting ready for what? Cadence smiled through her pain, pulling Shining's hoof to her stomach and holding it there. There's been something I've been meaning to tell you. Have you noticed I've been eating more lately? And I've been having weird cravings? Now that you mention it, I suppose I have. Do you remember when I went to the doctor last week? Yeah, it was because you gained some weight. You were really nervous about it for some reason. Well, that's not entirely true. I did gain some weight, but it was also because I was late. You were nervous because you were late for an appointment? No, I was late. I don't understand, Shining Armor said, eyebrow arts in confusion. Shining, let me do the math. You plus Cadence equals little thing. His mind then suddenly clicked together for everything Cadence had said. Oh, God! Took you long enough. Food cravings, weight gain, being that special kind of late Mears could only be. Wait! Are you? How long? Cadence just nodded her head. The doctor said I'm about a month in. Shining turned, focusing on Cadence's blanket-covered belly as he gently raised his hoof against it. He was silent for several seconds, the smile on his face growing inch by inch over that time. Finally, it grew as large as his face would allow, and that was when he exploded. He cheered and began to bound around like a rabbit. He whooped, he hollered, and he danced, not caring who heard or saw. Shining Armor, what's going on? Twilight asked, as she, Nightlight, Velvet, and Nyx rushed into the room at the sound of his shouting. Twilight! Cadence and I are going to have a fall! Velvet's jaws and Twilight's jaws dropped. They looked at Cadence, then back to Shining. Then they repeated themselves twice, looking back and forth between the two, before they looked at one another. They were stuck in a loop, neither being able to believe what they had been told. Oh, and Shining feels disappointed. He had this really nice scavenger hunt all planned out for Twilight. He had everything set up, he was going to use baby characters, and now Twilight found out. Oh, I'm sorry, I just happen to be a fan of the one where Pinky knows, and it was a really fun episode, and I feel kind of bad that that episode will never happen in this universe. Unless Nyx tells Pinky a secret, and that's what happens. Still, Shiny feels disappointed. He never got to use that scavenger hunt. It's okay, Shiny. There'll be next time. My brother's having a fall. My son's having a fall. I'm going to be an aunt. I'm going to be a grandmother. They're going to have a fall. They're going to have a fall! Tully and Velvet smiled. They rose back on their hooves, hugged each other tight, as they cheered as loud as their voices would allow. They chanted and sang, They're having a fall! They're having a fall! They're having a fall! Nightlight was a bit more controlled, but he was holding back tears as he went up to his son. First, they shook hooves. Then Nightlight pulled Shining into a firm hug. Not as good as a hoof bump from Carrot Cake. Nyx was bounding amongst all four of them, pointing together at the fact that she would be getting a cousin. She was cheering and talking about all they would do together, and how she and her cousin could be friends, just like Appleboom and Babs. It was growing into a cacophony. 5 ponies all cheering at once, while Cadence could only lay back and smile. Twilight and Velvet looked at Nightlight and Shining, and Nyx gladly joined in well. The whole family shared in a tight group hug, tilted their heads back, and shouted so loud there was hardly a pony in the castle that couldn't have heard of them. Cadence is having a fall! Did you hear that? Sounds like some pony is shouting for something about having a fall. Colin glowered at Quicksnap from his bed. After getting his condition stabilized, he had been moved into another room. At least, that's what he had been told. He had been asleep through most of it, suffering from one of the worst nightmares he had endured in a while. All he knew was that he had woken up that morning to find he was sharing a small, well-guarded room with a pony that had stabbed him in the back.
All I hear is a stitch. You're going to keep his mouth shut!
Colin hissed, before looking back up at the ceiling. Quicksnap rolled his eyes and shifted to get more comfortable. He was sitting in the room's sole chair, reading the single magazine that had been left. All other furniture had been removed. A nurse came in regularly to check in on Colin, and the guards escorted Quicksnap to the bathroom when he asked. Otherwise, the pair of reporters were on lockdown. A shuffle of hooves outside the door made Quicksnap look up from the magazine, while Colin couldn't be bothered to even turn his head. A mare marched into the room, a Pegasus and a night guard in full armor. She removed her helmet with a wing, removing a portion of the disguising enchantment imbued in the metal. The fur around her head a slight beige, and her mane became a bright, grained field blonde. What's the news, Clearcut? Quicksnap asked, getting out of his chair and walking over to Colin's sister.